So I attempted a Breath of the Wild speedrun known as Bread Percent. On paper it sounds pretty simple, make a loaf of delicious bread as soon as possible. However, in order to make that bread, you have to complete all the shrines of the Great Plateau, get the paraglider, go all the way down to Tabantha to get the wheat and salt, and then make the bread. All the runs posted on speedrun.com took 30 to 40 minutes to complete, so I figured it would be a nice, decent length for a 10 subscribers special video. But it actually ended up being a lot longer. If you were one of the lucky ones that was able to see the raw footage of this video that was up for a brief moment, you would have seen that it took me over an hour to complete this run, mainly because I had already practiced it twice before my real attempt, and had never fully completed any of those practice runs. Yeah, not really my best idea, but it did make me appreciate how much time speedrunners dedicate to their craft. First, the run starts off like any other Breath of the Wild run you've seen before. Wake up, get the Sheikah Slate, ignore the clothing because time laws, and run out into one of the most iconic openings in modern game history. From here, we talk to the old man who seriously questions Link's fashion choices, but more importantly, starts the quest for getting off the main plateau, starting with activating the tower and getting the aerial map. Activating the main tower will then cause 4 shrines to appear in the Great Plateau. First is a Magnesis shrine right next to the tower, which is pretty self-explanatory. Next up is the Bomb Shrine, which you have to get to without triggering a single Guardian. Too bad that I somehow passed it despite going exactly there on both practice runs with no issues. And while we're here, can I just say that Guardians were absolutely terrifying in Breath of the Wild? Like, not the broken down runs, but the Guardian stalkers that chase you down to the ends of Hyrule and shoot lasers that do insane amounts of damage for no reason. As you get better at parrying and get abilities like Durug's Protection, they're not as bad, but they're pretty spooky early game. Anyway, after becoming Guardian free for the rest of the run, I then make the long trek to the Cryonis Shrine in the snowy area. The main reason why you had to go on such a backwards route is because of the monster camp nearby with tons of spicy peppers. In a casual playthrough, you would want to keep these to make the old man's favorite dish and get the warm souffle. But of course, that would be a time loss. Instead, you want to charge straight through the snowy area and eat the spicy peppers to prevent you from dying on your way to Cryonis. This is where the first of many deaths happened in this run. I tried to shortcut my way from the camp to the shrine by jumping across the bridge, a feat that I was able to do on my first try in the practice runs, but for some reason I wasn't able to get the timing and ended up falling into the river 3 or 4 times, which you can imagine isn't ideal. I was, though, finally able to overcome the Bridge of Terror and make it to Cryonis. That means that things would get easier, right? Right? Of course not, because I still haven't talked about the last and least part of the Great Plateau, the dreadful journey to Stasis. In all of my practice runs, I tried getting to Stasis by climbing up the rock wall by the old man's house, which normally led to me picking up one massive item while I was there, the pot lid. Even though the actual speedrun method doesn't use the pot lid, I took it because I figured I could use it somewhere. Turns out it was actually a huge time saver when going to Stasis from Cryonis by shield surfing down the hill Cryonis was on. Surfing through the snow was a lot faster than walking, which was useful to save the very limited time you have in the snow because of Link's health depleting and the few peppers you have left to replenish it. But of course, this time, I somehow managed to forget about the pot lid. This made the road to Stasis agonizingly slow, and I died many, many, many times because I didn't have enough food to make it. I genuinely considered resetting this run because of how many times I died, and I probably should have because this went on for 10 minutes. Yeah, way too long. But I was determined that this run was the run. Finally, I decided that the other route wasn't going to work, so I took the long route to climb the rock wall, and slowly but steadily made my way to Stasis. I died again in Stasis, pretty stupidly I might add, but this wasn't too big of a deal because of the autosave that happens when you enter the shrine. While editing this video is that I could have saved when I was like halfway through Stasis and I would have respawned there with full health. Like, how did I not consider that? Okay, sorry, back to the Scuff speedrun. After finally getting done with Stasis, all that was left to do was go to the Temple of Time, discover that the old man was actually the former king, and get the item that gets us off the Great Plateau, the paraglider. Now normally the run would be smooth sailing from here, and it almost was. I got a horse and rode all the way to Tabantha pretty quickly, but I forgot a crucial item from the Great Plateau, an iron sledgehammer. I actually didn't forget it, but I never really cared to look for it to pick it up. I figured it wasn't really important because I could use remote bombs to break the rocks for salt. And while it is possible, it's not that good of a chance. I don't know if it actually makes the odds of finding rock salt worse or if I was just unlucky, but I had to reload a few times just to get the rock salt from the ore deposits there. Luckily, I did go to the shrine right by the stable, so when I finally did get the rock salt, all I had to do was teleport to the stable, and finally, over an hour of bad gameplay, I was finally able to cook the sweet, succulent, delicious bread that ended the most scuffed bread percent run I have ever seen. Even though this was a really long process, I actually really enjoyed this run and will definitely practice it some more to get a better time, which probably will be a lot easier with some extra studying. This also helped me see Breath of the Wild in a whole new way. As a casual player that mostly plays that one save file that's super advanced and working towards 100% completion, I forgot how the early game felt, being super fragile with only 3 hearts and no champion abilities to save you from the ruthless, unforgiving guardians in every corner of Hyrule. It really goes to show how much of a unique experience Breath of the Wild is, and as cliche as it sounds, it's one of the best games out there that I think everybody should play. Well, if you made it here, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for watching this mess of a speedrun, and honestly even for clicking on this video. This is my first official video, and it never would have been possible if it wasn't for you guys' support and feedback. If you guys like content like this, let me know, and I'll try my best to improve the quality on each one and make them better than the last. Okay, I'll see you guys later, and now it's obligatory outro time.